Okay, welcome guys. Thanks for viewing this video. I'm about to restart and redo the whole series of instructional videos. The first series came out in April, so quite a while ago when the platform was quite new and in development. Now that was obviously in a demo environment, not completely live. And if you're looking at these videos, now we're into a completely live environment. It should be accessible to all FP Markets clients and all the functionality that we've been developing, it should be completely functional. So it's the right time to do an updated set of tutorial videos. We just want to do a few different sorts of videos, break them up into different parts. And I think what we'll go through now is exploring the platform. So just getting used to the interface, what it looks like, how to navigate around. I'll go through some of the basics here for you. Let's start by looking at the top left-hand corner. There's a small box there that says FPM and My Pages. Okay, so what we're looking at with the FPM section are workspaces that we control. All right, so I have a login where I can go in and I can set these workspaces up and customize them and detail them. And so as a first-time user, when you log in, you'll have access to all the workspaces that you can see up in the top part of the screen here: charting, depth, execution 1, execution 2, etc., etc. Okay, so with these workspaces, you can't add or delete components that are already or components or widgets that are already in the screen. Okay, so they're fixed, but you can drag and drop and manipulate the ones that are there already. Okay, so I can move my chart. If I wanted to buy a ticket over on the right hand side, I can just drag and drop. Okay, so they're not editable, but the idea is just to have that so you don't have to do all the work setting them up yourself. And I have tried to give them a bit of variation. So, execution 1 here, we've got margins component, top left-hand corner, where you can see your GLV and the cash balance and your initial margin. Positions component just under that, where you would have your positions line by line, etc., long, short, different positions line by line. I've got a chart and market depth for pricing, for viewing your trade, an embedded order ticket. We've got a blotter on the right-hand side, which is effectively your order pad, or a blotter is where any working cancelled orders are found. And execution in the top right-hand corner is like a trades widget, basically, anything that has executed on the day. Okay, so you'll log in, you'll have these different FPM workspaces. You can cycle through them. I'll just do that really quickly here, won't get into it too much. Execution 2 is largely the same. You'll notice here I've got the news in the top right hand corner and contingent orders. If you use those, if you're using stops and take profits and those sort of orders, you've got that there. And I've removed the embedded order ticket because we do have floating order tickets in this system as well. So slightly, just trying to give some people some different options there in terms of how you use the system. Execution 3 here, you've got margins component positions again. This is slightly different. You've got no chart. So assuming you're looking at a chart elsewhere, you've got the market depth and the time of sales and then order pad news, okay? Click on the media tab. That's where you can just get access to the tutorial videos and other updates that we'll put into the system about new features. I've got one here for a Spark user. Okay, so Spark is an analysis tool that a lot of FP clients use, and in that you're looking at a market depth and a chart from Spark, so you wouldn't need that on their screen. There is no integration between the two platforms. It's literally just a workspace that you might use if you don't need a market depth or a chart on your page, and you've got more room for order tickets and more room for other components. Set one up for some watch lists here, so a varied or a general watch list on the left, then maybe some niche watch list on the bottom right hand corner in a chart. I see this a lot in the system, people setting up a lot of market depths, looking, I'm a Spark user myself, so I usually look at that market depth in Spark, but if you're looking at the depth in the system here, you may want to do multiple depths for stocks and then bring out your order tickets based on what you're seeing. And then generally you'll have a charting workspace, set up in some sort of customized way, charts of a particular type with particular indicators saved and things like that. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Now, two things. If you like one of these workspaces and then you want to start to edit them, okay, let's say we like execution 1 as a workspace. just right click, hit save as, and let's call this my pages 1. When I hit save as, now I've got my FPM workspaces here. When I go to my pages, now I've got this here saved, and now I can start to edit the page. Okay, so that's one way to start off with my pages. The second way is just to, and I want to introduce this universal options menu. Okay, it's this plus symbol in the top left-hand corner of the page, and also the plus symbol that exists on every single component that you can see. Okay, so the plus symbol is a universal options menu. When you use that up in the top left-hand corner, you get some options here. Now that you're on my pages, the first tab here that says edit, that's actually saying, do you want to edit the workspace that you're on? Okay. And the other 3 tabs actually relate to the component that you're clicking on at the time. Okay, so I'll show you how to create a new page and attach some components to it. So if I go here, pages, create composite page, I'll call this demo page. Okay, it starts off with a watch list. That's just the default. So now what we want to do is simply drag and drop the components that we're interested in onto the workspace. It's very simple, it's very quick. This is the equivalent of the add widget menu from your viewpoint system, that pops into the middle of the screen. Although this is a little bit more intuitive and quicker. So if I wanted to recreate that workspace very quickly, it is very easy. So we put margins here, and you can see, depending on where I drop the margins, I'll split my space horizontally, vertically left, vertically right, etc. Okay, so margins up the top, positions under that, grab the border, resize it. I'll grab a chart down here, resize it. Then we're going to look at executions. Okay, now I don't want the watch list anymore. I'm not going to need that on this page. Just press X to get out of that. We want orders. And now we're looking at the market depth and the ticket just to complete the workspace. Okay, so market depth on the right and a ticket, an embedded buy ticket on the left-hand side. All right, so we'll just resize this so it is optimized. Okay, so let's just explore these menu options again. So as I click on the plus symbol for any particular widget, as I cycle around to the different widgets, the universal options menu stays up, but you can see the options are changing. So at any time, I can edit the workspace I'm on by dragging and dropping, but then what the other tabs there, the other tabs depend on the widget that you're clicking on. Okay, so basically, as an example for the positions widget, I can edit the workspace or I can select some columns. I can do a bit of column choosing for the positions widget. When I come over to the order pad or the blotter, yes, again, I can edit the workspace I'm on. I can do some filtering based on what orders I want to look at. I can do some column choosing. Okay, when I come to the embedded order ticket, there's a whole bunch of things I can do to what the order ticket looks like. I can look at the execution management system. Okay, so that universal options menu allows me to edit my workspace and then find options for the components that I'm clicking on. Okay. Again, just there is widget linking in this system. So if I'm on edit, let's say I want to just on this workspace, make the order ticket and the market depth and the chart linked. That's done in this top section here under title and link. So they've all got a yellow dot. Again, change to CBA, that all flicks over. So that's the first menu option. The second menu option to investigate is at the top of each component. It's this little, you might call it a wheel or a cog or a gear symbol. I'll just call it the cog symbol. So a cog in a gear system, right? It's this little wheel here. And essentially what that is a quick menu option, all right? The plus symbol is very detailed. You can find all sorts of different menu options there. but the gear symbol gives you a different set of menu options, and they're usually quick preset changes that you can make to the component. So in the positions component, if I click on here, it's got these different ways to look at the positions component that are pre-saved into it, like different column widths, different column varieties. You can look at it as a pie chart and all these other things here. When I come to the plotter and I press the options, the gear symbol, I can just do some quick filtering here. When I look at my order ticket, it's got a small, medium, or large preset type of the order ticket. So these are just, again, different ways to change the settings in the component, but it's usually just a quick version. Okay. Let's look at saving space as well. So we've decided on the components that we want to look at. And then we maybe want to just make this a little bit cleaner and just maximize the real estate on the screen. Okay, so there's two ways to do this. The first is at the top of each component, there's a little, in the top left-hand corner, there's a pale or a white arrow. Okay, and what that'll do is that'll hide the top line of the component, and it'll just make it a little bit cleaner, because if you've only got one account, there are certain components when that top line of the component is redundant. So for a chart, for an order ticket, for the market depth, obviously you're using that top line to change to enter ticket codes, right? So you're going to need that there, and it doesn't make sense to hide that away. But for my plotter, my execution component, the margins component, and the positions, if I've only got one account, I'm not likely to be using that. So if I just hide that, okay, that's just going to make it nice and clean. And again, you can just maximize space to an even greater extent. So you can make the border of that very close. You've got more room for your trades, more room to manage your orders and things like that. Okay, the next thing in terms of space is saying, look, if we want to hide all the workspaces that we've got access to, you can see I'm on FPM in the top left-hand corner. I've got all these workspaces at the top. If you don't need them, you can get that extra, let's call it 1.5 inches, 2 inches of space by clicking on this little symbol in the top left-hand corner. It's 2 arrows, and that completely hides all the workspaces. So this is the workspaces I'm on for the moment. If I want to change, click this, and then I can go back and forth. Okay, so that just helps maximize the space that you've got there as well. In terms of exploring the platform, we've looked at the universal options menu and the gear or the cog menu. You can also explore this system by right-click functionality. So right-click functionality is something that older Irish Trader system had that Viewpoint doesn't have. This system has a mix of that, so it does work on right-click functionality. So if I just look in the bottom right-hand corner and right-click here, I've got two boxes here essentially, right? So I've right-clicked on the market depth for FMG. I can buy and sell and look at working terminated orders or set an alert for FMG in particular. And then underneath that line, it gives me some options to just open floating versions of all these components, right? So you can have an embedded order ticket or an embedded market depth. And in this system, if you want to just quickly create a floating version, you can do that as well, okay? So if I wanted to, for some reason, to look at a floating depth, and then I can change that stock, and then, take it around the screen, right click. I can right click for, news, intraday charts, etc. So that's all your right click functionality. If I just create, I don't have a position currently, but if I just create an order, right, just a really basic order, 100 units at $21, I'll just show you that there is right click functionality, left click to highlight, right click functionality on orders as well. So take actions on your orders, etc., etc. But we'll go through that in later videos. Also just want to touch on one of the aspects of the platform that we really wanted to work on and to put some thought into was to make the platform more keyboard friendly, right? So less use of the mouse, make it more keyboard friendly, make it quicker to access different functionality. So you can tab around all these different components and shift tab to cycle backwards through the components. All the order tickets are tabbable. They have circular tabbing. Shift tab goes backwards. So you can use an embedded order ticket without needing the mouse at all, up and down to change from a pick list, to change order type from limit to market. Okay, and part of that is I just want to show you the hotkey menu. So there are extensive hotkeys in the system. If I hit F1, the list of hotkeys come up here. F1 to F12 are either, again, similar to your right click function. F1, things like F2, F4 will just open a floating version, F10, a floating version of that component, right? So like this, F2. F6, 7, 8, and 9 bring up various buy or sell tickets floating in the system as well, right? So F6 is your buy ticket that remembers what you were clicking on last, starts in volume. F7 is a blank buy ticket where you're starting in the ticker code box and going from there. And then we go on from there. And then F7, F8